demigods could gain long life. That's the idea. And so the demigods and the demons were churning the ocean of milk with the aim of getting Amrita, the nectar. And this nectar would give them not immortality, as it means. Amrita means no death, but not that they would have no death, but they would live for a day of Brahma. That's a long time for the demigods to rule. They're in charge during that time. That's a long time. So if someone was able to live for that long, a day of Brahma, that's 1,000 ages. Yesterday, I think we were talking about number of ages in a Manu. Manu has 14 Manus in a day of Brahma. Means each Manu rules for 71 Divya Yugas. So demigods, they wanted to have that assurance. Therefore, they needed this Amrita. And Magadhari came and brought the Amrita. But the demons are very possessive, and they immediately took the Amrita for themselves. And they weren't going to give any to the demigods. The Lord had to appear in another incarnation. Another incarnation, he had to appear as Mohini Murti, the most beautiful incarnation, female incarnation of the Lord. Generally, the Lord appears in a male form. It's like Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, they're all male forms of the Lord. But Mohini is a female form because it was needed, it was required. The only way to win back the nectar from the demons was to bewilder them. And the most bewildering thing in the material world is the form of a beautiful woman. So the Lord appeared as the most beautiful woman, and the demons were totally captivated by lust, and they agreed to do anything she said. And so she said, "Why don't you give me the nectar and I'll distribute it between you and the demigods?" They said, "Yes, take it." They trusted her completely. But the Lord is favorable towards the demigods, not the demons. He's favorable towards the demigods because they're favorable towards him. They carry out his instructions. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam, most important verse, according to Srila Jiva Goswami. What is it? Ete chang sakalapungsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Ete chang sakalapungsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indriyara vakalam lokam mridyanti yuge yuge. Lord, all the different incarnations appear to assist or to help Indra Vakalam. And Indra has the duty of the king of heaven. He manages the heavenly planet. And he's supposed to make sure everything is going on properly. Rain is supposed to be falling properly. That's under his direction. So many things. And if there's any demons, he's the first way. He's the king fighter, top fighter, protector. So the Lord, sometimes when the demons overpower the demigods and Indra gets bewildered and defeated, then the Lord has to incarnate to help Indra, save Indra and save the demigods and save the good souls. The good souls means that he, Paritranaya sadhunam, he gives deliverance to the sadhus, saintly persons. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha duskrita. And the duskrita, the demoniac, he annihilates them. There's nothing wrong with annihilating the miscreants. It's like there's nothing wrong with annihilating a poisonous snake, cobra. When people will say, well, why kill the snake? But the snake is very dangerous. So it is said that even the sadhu, even the saintly persons are not disturbed when a snake or a vrishchika, sarpa, vrishchika, snake or tarantula, even if they're killed, because they're considered harmful to society. And this was the logic that was presented by Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Nrsimhadev. That Lord Nrsimhadev should not be disturbed, that no one would be disturbed by this act of yours, because you killed Hiranyakashipu, and he was just like a terrible. It's said that there's two types of envious creatures. One envious creature is the snake, and the other envious creature is human. But of the two, the snake is not as bad because it can be charmed by mantras. And then it won't harm anyone. But the envious creature in the form of human, there's no way to rectify him. Simply have to smash him. So anyway, Lord appeared as Mohini and Dhanvantari. Dhanvantari appeared to be overcome. The demons, they were very strong. They took away the nectar. But we see that he got back the nectar when he came as Mohini. And medical science, we don't consider medical science Ayurveda most important. It's of course an important part of Vedic knowledge. There's so many different divisions of Vedic knowledge. Ayurveda is one. And those who are very interested in medical science, they can study that. Ayur means to extend, make the lifetime extended, your long life. Thank you.
Prabhupada mentions here that, pretty much everybody in this material world has some type of disease which is threatening their span of life and is always bothering the living entities who are embodied. And Prabhupada discusses that the body is is the symptom or is the symbol of diseases. And he also mentions elsewhere that it's the symbol of sin, that we have this material body which is afflicted by so many miseries, including disease, birth, death, old age, because of our sinful desires. And it started with this enviousness of the Lord, that we wanted to take his position and try to play his role. It's discussed in the second, it's discussed in this second canto. I've been hearing in the 8th chapter, in the 9th chapter, I think it's the 9th chapter, that the living entity is like a crying child, and the mother or the father kind of like satisfy the child by, providing what the child wants. And when we want to pretend to be the Lord, though it's futile, then the Lord gives us this opportunity called the material world. And with that material world, with this material world, in order to interact with this material world, which is all material, we have to have a body which has senses which are material. And by the Lord's arrangement, this body is a type of prison for the living entity. So, Ayurveda, like Maharaj was stating, it's not the topmost important science. Prabhupada stressed devotion, bhakti Vedanta. So this is the end of all the knowledge of all the Vedas, which has so many divisions, but bhakti is the supreme science. It's called Raja Vidya Rajaguyam. It's the most secret of all secrets. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, text 15, that Vedaischa sarvar aham eva vedyo. That of all the Vedas am I to be known. And we can understand that he very rarely awards this devotion, actually. He may award all these other types of knowledge, and there may be great scholars of the Vedas and wonderful practitioners of the Ayurvedic, material science, but they may not necessarily have devotion, and therefore they are considered imperfect, or not having yet achieved the supreme perfection of life, which is to become an unalloyed devotee of the Lord, personality of Godhead, to understand him. Actually, Lord Krishna tells Lord Brahma that the highest goal in life is to realize the Lord, or to see the Lord face to face by realization of his, realize his personal feature. And that's only attainable through bhakti. So the supreme knowledge is that path by which we can know the Supreme Lord face to face by realization. It's that process of religion, it's a real religion, to know God face to face. So, in general, Srila Prabhupada doesn't spend time in his books really talking about all the variegated sciences in the Vedas at length. He mentions them, and they're there, and they are sciences, and he does mention that they are bona fide processes of knowledge, and they have their uses. But we see again and again and again in these purports, in these Bhaktivedanta purports, what do we get? Bhakti. Bhakti is stressed again and again. So, so amazing is that all these different incarnations, whatever their functions are and whatever lila they exhibit, it's attracting our mind for different reasons. We may really appreciate medical science, and we may think it's so awesome, it's so cool that we can mix the herbs, and we can have the tonics, and we can have the cow urine, and we can have the cow dung, and we can do this with the copper pots, and this with this, and that with this. and we really like it, and we're thinking, wow, all this amazing stuff Dhanvantari gave me, amazing. He's so cool, and he's so beautiful, and he has an awesome pot, and he's got a cool hat. And, yeah, it's amazing. And then we're, and it just grabs our mind. He grabs our mind, and then we understand through the devotee association. Yep, that person who you have a little attraction for, he's just one of the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. All the incarnations of God, all the incarnations of Krishna are also servants of Krishna. They all act as subordinates to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So then we can see, wow, and he's the source. Krishna's the source of that awesome personality and that awesome personality and all these wonderful, awesome personalities. And it's better than anything we could have ever imagined. Reality is better than any concoction. And actually, our speculations and our imagination only goes so far as to what we've actually received previously anyway. So we're thinking of great superheroes and beasts and magical personalities, and we can only go so far. The Lord can exceed our expectations, and he can exceed our imagination by unlimited amounts. So he's very kind to bless us with so many wonderful incarnations to attract our mind and lead us to surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, as he advises personally in the Bhagavad Gita. Manmano bhavaband bhakta madhyaji mam namaskuru. He's speaking about himself. Lord Krishna himself is speaking that I'm that person that you should dedicate your mental activities to, and you should offer obeisances to me, etc. So, wonderfully enough, by the grace, I'm reading from the purport, so by the grace of the personality of Godhead, not only are diseases of the body and mind cured, but also the soul is relieved of the constant repetition of birth and death. The name of the Lord is also called Bhava Shadhi, or the source of curing the disease of material existence. And how kind it is. The Lord has made himself approachable by his holy name. Namakari Bahoda Nijasarva Shaktis, that he has invested in his holy names all these different potencies. But as unfortunate as I am, I have no attraction for them. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that before you leave this world, which can happen at any moment, you should just try to get taste for the holy name, right? You should just try to chant even one time, purely the holy name. And to relish the holy name. That we haven't done yet. I haven't gotten high, right? Of course, the Lord gives little glimpses here and there. That's how kind he is for us, conditioned entities in this Kali Yuga. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, with his associate Lord Nityananda, freely distributing the holy name of the Lord, and all he asks is for faith. All he asks is for faith. So it's wonderful when the faithful devotees say, please just chant Hare Krishna. You will achieve the supreme perfection. All the trouble that you're experiencing now, I promise you, it will clear up. There will be no problem. Continue with this process with dedication, consistency, determination, and just understand all the pleasures that you're chasing, you will not find a higher pleasure than chanting the pure holy name of the Lord. And in due course of time, you will in fact chant the pure holy name of the Lord if you follow the process as given by the acharyas. And they ensure us again and again, And if we hear that message from them, the faithful persons, and we take it up, then we can also achieve the same result. And that's described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That understanding that by devotional service only, which is primarily practiced in this age by the chanting of the holy names, is the way to achieve supreme perfection. That's called Shraddha. That by devotional service, by loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, I can attain all perfection. So we're very fortunate that we have such faithful devotee association, and we can pray to their lordships that if they so desire, that we can always have the best of association, and we can have the wherewithal and the intelligence to take full advantage of the association of the faithful devotees of the Lord. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Does anybody have a quick comment? Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please forgive me for any offense